Do my eyes deceive me? Is that a new video on Tricky197, the best YouTuber on the platform of YouTube.com? Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it either, but here we are, I guess. Now, you may be expecting a new animation, and if you're lucky, you might get one of those within the next 6 years, but I mean, for now, we're gonna have to settle with a stupid tier list video. Now, I enjoy making tier lists, but I don't upload them usually because I don't know, it's a bit low effort and stuff, but I don't know. I just wanted to make a new video and I don't really like doing gameplay videos all that much anymore. Maybe I'll do some in the future depending on what people think, but Isaac is my favorite game. Sadly, Yoshi's Island's been kind of, it was always my favorite, but like Isaac's just good. I don't know. So, I mean, I'll just say they're like tied for my favorite game. Just to, throw it a bit of a bone. But I think with the Repentance DLC coming out a few years back, I think um Isaac's just kind of escalated to the point where I just love it so much. Um, so I thought it was only fitting that if I am going to make one of these tier list videos, I would do it on the Isaac characters. And I'm not going to do it based on how strong they are per se, although that will obviously come into it a little bit. But um, this is like mostly to do with how fun I find the characters and how much I personally like them, which means this is a very personal tier list. If you have different opinions, I mean, I don't even know if any of the people who watch my videos play Isaac, but if you have different opinions, then feel free to say so and hate me and whatever else. But I'm just gonna go off of like what I think. But anyway, we've got our tiers here. We've got the tippy top tier, which is what I always call the best tier because, I like being silly like that. But that that's probably just going to be like 3 or so characters because I already kind of know what my few like favorite characters in the game are. Then we got like very fun, just pretty self-explanatory, the characters which are fun to play or very fun to play. Good times, they're like pretty good characters, they're pretty good. All right is like, I mean they're good, but I don't really care unless I was getting the like unlocks for playing as them. Kinda meh is getting down there a bit worse than that. Not a fan is where it like starts getting to the point where I just don't really care for them. And then we've got the I will become back my money, you cow on a trash farm. A very famous at this point quote. Although, if you're not in the Isaac fan base, you won't know what it's from. But yeah, um, it's from a like tweet directed at Edmund McMillen when Repentance came out. Because if you don't know, the Repentance DLC makes the game so much harder, and some people didn't quite enjoy that. Because they'd rather just completely demolish everything in every run, which is completely fine. Um, and I mean, everyone gets some fun from just having a completely broken run. But yeah, I mean, having the game actually be balanced is probably better. Although I will say, when I first got Repentance, I was a bit overwhelmed because of how much more difficult it is, even though I'd already 100%ed after with Plus. But I will preface before I start this tier list that if I do ramble a bit, then apologies. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Maybe grab a snack or something. I don't know. But I mean, you can see the watch time anyway. Um, Now, the way that this tier list, they've like kind of like set it up, because obviously I didn't make this template. It's on Tier Maker. Maybe I'll put that in the description in case you wanted to make your own. But the way they've done this is they've got the regular characters in alphabetical order, which means that Apollyon, my boy, is right here at the front. Um, but I think we should at least talk about Isaac first, because, he's the original, so we'll bring him up. into the I will become no. So Isaac, I think I'm just gonna automatically put him up here. Um, so Isaac is incredibly powerful, and there was a point where he was the only character that I played. When Rebirth first came out, I didn't really care about getting all the unlocks. I just played a lot of Isaac because once you've unlocked the D6 on him, which is like his like starting item, but you don't have it right away, um, that basically lets you re-roll items into other items, and he is incredibly strong. Like every run is usually a win if you're good. But obviously you can still get unlucky if you're really unlucky like me. You know, it does happen. Um, but I would say that Isaac is just automatically in the very fun tier because you even like the problem is, um, if this was a strength tier list, I think he would just automatically be in the very top. But sometimes I kind of like not having the most broken character ever, so I don't know. I feel like he's here, and I kind of want to like segue into Apollyon because Apollyon is basically worse Isaac, I would say. He starts with one less health. He's got the Void, which is a similar item to the D6. So like how the D6 rerolls items, the Void instead it sucks them up and turns them into stat increases. So you are able to get rid of items that you don't want in the same way you could with the D6, but it's not quite as overpowered. You're not going to get like really broken items all the time because you're not like altering what items are appearing. And the stat increases you get two random ones. So if you're unlucky, you could just end up with like range every single time, and then that just doesn't even matter. But I think, he's a really fun character to use. Definitely he's been my favorite since I first played Afterbirth Plus and I played him. He's also very cool. Um, I don't know. I just think like he's very underrated. Like everyone kind of shits on Apollyon and puts him like I mean in terms of strength he's probably like here or here. But yeah, in terms of how much I like him, he's just one of my favorites in the entire game. Um, so yeah, you stay up there, Apollyon. I'm like one of the only people who likes you, but you could go here. Um, oh God. So we've got Azazel next, and I don't even know what to do with Azazel, honestly. He's kind of a hard one to rank. Um, so the thing with Azazel is you either love him or you hate him, because he's basically the easy mode, like noob, new player character who starts off with an incredibly overpowered attack. He also starts off with flight, so which is incredibly broken, starting off with flight. There's only one other character I believe who does. Well, technically two, because there's variants of all the characters, but oh yeah, there is the Forgotten too, but well, the Tainted Forgotten. But yeah, the Lost starts with flight, but he has his own downsides, which like kind of like justifies that. But Azazel, the original Azazel, he is yeah, he's a bit crazy. I would say that most runs you don't end up with cool synergies, although I did play a co-op run with Harry, my mate, um, like a couple days ago, and I got Pop, which I don't know if I can like show that. I can probably get a item mod to just like test it on a you know quick like clip cut in, but oh my god, it is so overpowered. And I even got like the electricity. Can't even remember what it's called. If it's Jacob's Ladder or if it's the other one. Um, there's a few different electricity items. But yeah, my god, like it was so overpowered. But generally, Azazel just doesn't really synergize with many items because he has this like short little brimstone laser which can't get homing unless you get like a massive range increase or whatever. I just think he's kind of boring, you know? But I don't think he's quite not a fan. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna put him in kind of meh for now. We'll see like where he ends up by the end. He might end up going here, but he's definitely not down at the bottom. That's a bit harsh. Um, I will say though, before we get to it, that Tainted Azazel, yeah, I like him a lot more, and you'll see that later. But um, next up we got Bethany. So I don't know how I feel about Bethany. Like when the DLC came out, I mean she's pretty cool. She's like a unique little character. I think they did a great job with the characters in Repentance. Just amazing. Like even like the two standard ones are really interesting. Because a few of these like early characters like Cain, um, and Maggie and stuff, like they are quite similar to Isaac, just without a D6, which is why when I first started playing the game, I only played Isaac, because why would I play these guys when they're basically the same, just without the D6, you know? But Bethany, yeah, she has like a book which can suck up active items. Well, not exactly suck them up like Apollyon, but you put the active items in the book, and then you'll get wisps which go around yourself, which can block shots, and depending on what active item you're using, you can get like different synergies with what wisps they are and like what they do. Um, she's like a character where you definitely might end up needing the wiki for because yeah, I don't really play her much, so I don't know if I can really like I don't really know all the synergies and things with all the active items, so but I know that a lot of them are quite strong. So she's definitely a good character. The thing that I don't really like about her is in Isaac you have soul hearts and oh god, like having to explain all this is like a bit complicated, but taking red heart damage during a floor will decrease your deal with the devil chance after you beat the boss of the floor. And deal with the devils and angels are incredibly powerful. You can get some really strong items, so you want to go for those. Um, but soul hearts, they don't count. Um, for like decreasing the chance. So you can use your soul hearts to protect your red hearts. Bethany, on the other hand, she is unable to obtain soul hearts, which is a big pain, I think. That's the main reason why I don't love her so much. Although I will still put her. She's kind of hovering between good times and alright here. Um, I mean, she's pretty unique. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather play her than something like Maggie, even though Maggie can get soul hearts. So maybe she is in the good times tier. Yeah, I think so. I don't think she's quite down in the all right. Sorry, Azazel, but like he's even lower than that. But Azazel, you can chill down there. We got Blue Baby here, or question mark, question mark, question mark, as the game technically calls him, but he's Blue Baby, everyone knows that. Um, so Blue Baby's a bit hated among people. I actually quite like Blue Baby though. Um, and that was even before the buff that they gave him. I mean, I haven't really played the game all that much since that update, even though it was like last year, because you know how I am, or you don't, but um, I kind of take breaks from games for a long time. I kind of play in like bursts, so I haven't played loads since that update, and definitely not as Blue Baby or Lazarus. Um, Blue Baby's update is a lot less drastic than Lazarus's, though, so he's still pretty similar to how he was. Um, but basically now he can. So Blue Baby starts with a poop item, which he can use on after each room because it has a one-room charge. Um, and then he can just destroy those and maybe get a chance of getting a coin from it or something. It's not all that great, but the new update made it so he gets a blue attack fly thingy for each of them, which are pretty strong because if you save all of the poops for right before the boss, then go back, destroy all of them, then you end up with like 20 flies, and then you just go into the boss room and it just immediately kills them. So he's very strong for like the early floors until that kind of falls off a bit. If you abuse that whole mechanic. Um, in general, though, people don't like him because he only has soul hearts as his health, which are quite rare. So it's and they're also like temporary, you know. So uh, with like a red heart container, you can refill it by picking up the like little red hearts on the floor. But with the soul hearts, they are like one-time use. So yeah, a lot of people don't really like characters like that. Although there are quite a few now. It's not just Blue Baby, but um. I would say that Blue Baby probably doesn't quite make it up to the good times tier, but he's definitely all right for me. I wouldn't put him in one of the low ones. Because he is quite a simple character. There isn't loads to him, but I don't know. I have fun while I play as him, so I would put him in all right. Next up we've got Kain. Now, Kain in the original Flash version of Isaac was my favorite character in the game until I unlocked the D6, which back then I was pretty terrible at Isaac, and Flash Isaac was very difficult as well. Uh, with the way that Rebirth has like kind of made the game a lot better, it's a lot higher FPS. Flash Isaac had like a cap of like 20 FPS or something, so it was very hard to dodge stuff, and the movement was like way more clunky than it is now. Like going back to that, I mean, I still go back to it sometimes because it's a little fun nostalgia trip, but you know, it's definitely nowhere near what Rebirth is, but especially in content. But so Kain in Flash Isaac, he would turn all pills into good pills. Now, I'm not sure exactly what they did to him in Repentance. Maybe they brought that back, but I don't think he's quite on Flash Isaac levels. But I will say he does get a nice little damage boost over Isaac, although it's not really much, I don't think. Um, but yeah, he starts off with a little bit more damage. He starts off with 2 heart containers instead of 3, though, similar to Apollyon. Um, Kain, I would say he's a good timeser. He's nothing like crazy, but I mean he's good. He could go in all right, but I feel like he's good enough to go into good times. All right, so next up we've got Eden, and people aren't going to be happy with me on this one, but I'm immediately just going to put that into not a fan. Um, so the thing with Eden, he's another one where you either love him or you hate him. Like he's kind of like Isaac, where the thing with Isaac and Eden is if you like playing as them, you might just end up only playing as them, you know? But I think with Eden, he's only interesting for the first room that you start, and then he's just kind of annoying. Like usually he gets completely random stats, and he gets one random active item, a random item, and I believe he gets a random trinket as well. Um, but that's only interesting for the first room, and usually your stats end up so awful to the point where it's just unplayable. Um, so you just keep resetting until you get something good, you know, and that's just kind of not interesting to me. I'd rather play as a character that's consistent and just is, you know, a character, because I don't even think of Eden as a character. He's just kind of Eden, you know? So I don't know. I mean he's better than the bottom tier, but I wouldn't put him in the same tier as Azazel, because at least Azazel is Azazel, you know? It's not just nothing. So that's my my take on Eden, which is probably unpopular, but you know, my opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own. Um, get out of here though, Eden. Nobody. Well, I don't give a shit about you. I guess other people do, but Eve time. I don't like Eve. Um, maybe that's a bit harsh. Eve is all right. Um, would I put Eve above Blue Baby or the other way around? I mean, in terms of strength, Eve is miles above Blue Baby probably, but I just I don't know, man. It's just Eve, you know? I just don't really like her all that much. Um, bit of Eve hate going on, but she's kind of like we haven't got to Judas yet, but she's kind of just like more annoying to use Judas, who's you've got to keep like half a heart or whatever all the time, and I don't know, like you can put like soul hearts on top of that, which makes it a bit better, but yeah. Uh, I just think she's fine, but she's just kind of boring. Yeah, I just keep her in all right. She's definitely strong because she can get a lot of damage, but from the very start. But yeah, I'd rather be playing any of these up here than Eve. Even Blue Baby, I'd rather take over Eve because I just enjoy playing him more. Um, we got the Forgotten next, and the Forgotten has to go up to very fun. Like I don't really play him much, but like whenever you're feeling like playing as the Forgotten, he's like the most unique out of the original characters, I would say. Um, Not including Jacob and Esau from Repentance. I mean, he's next, but yeah. Well, maybe it does. He's kind of like on the same level. Um, so the Forgotten is actually like two characters kind of in one. So you've got kind of like Jacob and Esau, which we'll get to, but basically you've got the little skeleton guy, and he has a melee attack, which is uncommon in The Binding of Isaac. Usually you're doing like tears, you're shooting tears out. If you're not familiar with The Binding of Isaac, you're probably like, what the hell? But yeah, you shoot your own tears in The Binding of Isaac. But the Forgotten has like a little bone club which he smacks stuff with, and it makes a nice little satisfying noise, you know. So he's very satisfying to play. He has his own kind of like synergies with all the items, so he's very unique. He's a bit like Azazel in that, where like a lot of the items might not work as you might want them to, you know, or like I mean he feels very samey, I guess, but he has his own unique synergies, so he definitely has more of that than Azazel does, I would say. Um, and the thing with the Forgotten is you can like click the left stick down. I don't really know what it is in PC controls because I haven't really played those characters in PC controls. I'm probably gonna have to record the clips, but um, basically the little ghost like detaches from him and it's like chained to him, and you can shoot tears with the ghost, and he also has flight. So if you go up to like some spikes or something, you can switch to the ghost mode and then like go over and grab all the like money that's maybe like hiding behind the spikes or something like that. Or he also has spectral tears, so you can shoot over rocks, which is nice. Um, so he's a really unique and fun character. Also, if you are the ghost, your skeleton body is still there on the ground, and it actually blocks shots, so you can like hide behind it while you're shooting. So he's very strong for some of the bosses, like the Hush, which just spams like loads of shots everywhere. So you can use the Forgotten as like a little defensive thing, um, like the bone version of the Forgotten, I mean. Um, so yeah, The Forgotten is a great time when you're craving playing as him because he is quite unique. Um, so I don't really play him a lot, but whenever I do, I mean, that's because I'm in the mood and he's definitely a fun character to play as. So he's in very fun tier. He doesn't quite go up to the top, although I can imagine that a lot of people would put him up there. I'm sure there's some people who hate him as well, but I don't know, you're crazy. So we got talking about hatred. We got Jacob and Esau next. Oh my god. Like what do I even do with them? Probably one of the hardest characters in the entire game. They were added in Repentance, the new DLC. The fact that these characters are kind of like alphabetical means that they're not in the order of when they were added, but so we got base game from Flash Judas right after Jacob and Esau, which feels a little bit weird. but I mean, it's nice because we get a nice break between some of the more complicated characters and the simpler ones from earlier on. Um, Back to Jacob and Esau though, like they are incredibly difficult. You have to control two characters at once. They can both shoot, but they don't have shared items, so you've got to like pick and choose which one you want to have, the specific items. Um, so if you want item synergies, you're gonna have to put both of those items onto one of them or whatever. Um, the problem with Jacob and Esau is just maneuvering around. Your hitbox is twice as big because you've got two characters. If you bump into like a rock or something, you're now going to be like out of sync with the two characters. And you're going to have to hold the left stick down to try and like move them towards each other. And if this is happening during combat, you're just kind of fucked. You're going to take like 5 hits worth before you're like, you know, and you're going to be panicking during all of this, like, oh my god, they're on opposite sides of the room. Please help. Um, so when you first play this character, I mean, he's kind of cool. I like him. I definitely don't dislike him because he's a cool little character. But like, do I seriously put him in kind of meh instead of down here somewhere? Like, I don't know. Does he go in the same tier as Azazel? I don't know. He's just a really hard one to rank. We'll maybe put him in not a fan, although it kind of makes me want to rename it, but I don't know. He's we could put we could just make this meh tier, and then we could have this as a kinda kinda no, because if I put kinda bad, then Eden's, you know, he's not bad. I mean, he kind of is actually. So fuck it. Kind of bad tier. That's where we'll put him. Um, Again, this is obviously based on not the strength, but although that does come into it a little bit. But yeah, just how much I like them. Eh, I mean, he's kind of like hovering between these. I probably like him a bit more than Eden, if I'm being honest, which is probably quite funny for a lot of people because Eden is quite popular, I believe. But yeah. Jacob and Esau is kind of painful to play, even if I do quite like him at the same time as hating him. Um, yeah, we'll put him there. So next up we got Judas. Another one of the Flash characters, so he's like quite simple, but Judas is very fun, and fittingly, I'm gonna put him in the very fun tier. I probably wouldn't put him as high as Isaac. Um, what about the Forgotten though? Like he's probably at the end, I'd say. But Judas, I do very much enjoy Judas. Um, he basically starts with the Book of Belial. First off, he starts off with only one HP container, which means that he's a very difficult character for the first like few floors. If you're not good at the game, I wouldn't suggest starting with Judas, but he can get more HP as the run goes on, of course, and he has no limit on like soul hearts or anything, so that's only really a problem for like the first few floors. So if you're not so great at the game, then yeah, maybe hold off. But um, for people who are like better, it's not really much of a downside. I mean, it's kind of a downside because you can get one shot by champion enemies in the first floor. But yeah, I mean, just start a new run if that happens, right? Um, but yeah, his damage though, that's where it's at. His damage is really good to start with. He's amazing. And on top of already having really amazing base damage, he also gets the Book of Belial active item, which has a bit of a charge on it, I believe, but it might be like 3 or 4 rooms, maybe it's a bit more. But it will basically boost your damage even further for the room that you use it. Um, so on boss rooms, you can just pop that, and he is really strong. And if you get like some good items to go along with that, then yeah, it's just GG's, right? Very fun character. I like a little bit of risk in my characters as well. That's why I like Apollyon. He's not quite as overpowered and brain dead as Isaac is. Um, so yeah, I would say yeah, that's why Azazel's down here as well. Although I didn't even mention earlier, but Azazel's range is also a bit of a nightmare with bosses, such as like Hush and Delirium and stuff, which makes him just kind of like not all that fun to play sometimes if you're actually like for early on, where if you're like new to the game, you're only going to be fighting like Mum and stuff, and that's going to be really easy. But if you're going for like the really late game bosses, he just gets kind of annoying to play as, because you're gonna have to get some stupid synergies to be able to fight fucking Hush and his bullet spam because you have no bloody range. You have to sit right next to him. Um, he's like simultaneously overpowered as hell and also kind of a little bit annoying sometimes. So yeah, that's why I put Azazel here. But yeah, I pretty much said everything I needed to say about Judas anyways. He's a pretty simple to understand character, but he's very fun, so he definitely goes up there. Um, Keeper. Oh God, what do I do about Keeper? I quite enjoy Keeper now that Repentance came out. Um, I will say, Afterbirth Plus, I hated Keeper. He would have been down here. 100% he would have been right here, the worst character in the entire game in Afterbirth Plus. Um, he was just pain, and I 100% at Afterbirth Plus, so I had to beat everything with him, and it was just painful. He was the last character that I completed, obviously. Um, so he used to start off with two. He basically has his own like health, which is coin hearts. You can only regain them by picking up money. And he only gets two. Um, So pretty much, if you get hit twice in a room, then you're fucked. Because a regular red heart on other characters, that has two halves, but no, a coin heart is just a coin. So, two hits. So he basically has one health, like Judas. Now they did buff him in Repentance and gave him an extra coin heart, and that just made him so much better. Like, you wouldn't think that one extra bloody container would do so much, but you're not going to get hit 3 times in a room. Well, you might, but but yeah, it makes it a lot better, a lot more lenient. He's just way more fun to play now. And on top of that buff, they also gave him a couple others. They gave him so basically Keeper starts off with triple shot, which wasn't actually that great in um the original, because it doesn't really help you all that much. Like the bloody spread on it was massive, so it usually didn't even end up helping all that much. Although it was kind of a cool little niche for him, made him, have some sort of reason to play him because there's no other reason. Um, but yeah, they made that a lot tighter spread now, so it's actually really good now. He's very strong. And the other buff they gave him was he can buy his Deal with the Devils for money, so you don't lose your like one heart container permanently if you decided to take a Deal with the Devil. And obviously you couldn't take a 2 heart Deal with the Devil before because he had 2 coin hearts. You just immediately die. So now he gets them for money. So that's a huge buff as well. Although um they made Deal with the Angels so much better in Repentance, which is also indirectly another buff for him. Um, and that's probably more important to go for than the Deal with the Devils even now, because the Deal with the Angels now are just so good. If you didn't know, if you skip the first Deal with the Devil by not even going in, then your next one will be a guaranteed Deal with the Angel now. Um, that didn't used to be a thing in before Repentance. But Deal with the Angels don't cost health. They're just very kind little angel boys. Um, So he's not actually down here anymore. I would say he's good times. Haha. Probably. He might be alright. Like when I kind of put him next to Kane, I'm like, yeah, Kane doesn't just ruin my life sometimes, so I would say. But I kind of like Keeper at the same time, so he's probably good times just under Kane. Um, you can make some very strong builds with Keeper, with some very specific items. If you have the Swallowed Penny trinket, then he will drop coins whenever he's hurt, and then you could just pick them back up and heal yourself. So there's a few other items which can do similar things. Piggy bank can do it. Let me just think. The like fanny pack or whatever it is that has a chance to drop coins because I think that one has like random stuff that drops. Um, there's probably another one that I'm missing. But yeah, there's a few ways that you can get around his health situation for the more difficult bosses, because obviously being in like a delirium fight, he's still gonna struggle a little bit with the health situation. You can't have more than three hits, but obviously you can always get some invincibility items, and if you're going for delirium, you're probably pretty strong by that point. So yes, I would say Keeper is a good time. Um, I like how I keep saying the names of the tiers by accident. Like I've been saying like very fun and good times, but I like that's just kind of like naturally me saying it. So I guess like the fact that I'm saying that about him means that he's definitely in the right tier, you know? Um next up, we got Lazarus. So, Lazarus used to be incredibly boring. And then they buffed him. And sadly, I haven't played him a lot since they buffed him, but out of the like one or two runs that I actually did, he is really good now. Like he is amazing now. Which makes this quite hard to rank because I haven't really played him a whole lot, as I said. Um, like the way he used to work is he just got like one extra life on top of like the regular character. So basically, like the revived form of him though has like slightly more damage, and like the base form has no difference other than having that extra life. So he was kind of like a worse Judas, where you would just sacrifice yourself on the first floor on purpose, like on some spikes or something, and then you would just be playing the second Lazarus, you know? Like he's kind of like a noob character where um you get an extra life. If you're bad at the game, you have like a extra life, but like if you are good at the game, you would just do that. You would just sacrifice yourself on the first floor. I would always just do it on the first room. Maybe the smarter thing is to wait for a deal with the devil and just remove all of your health on it. Just get all the items. That was probably the smartest play, but I'm bad at patience, so I would just sacrifice him immediately. Um, sorry, Lazarus. Basically though, the way that he works now with the new buff, he gets unlimited revives as far as I know. I think he just loses like a health container each time. And like basically like each floor is when that changes, right? Um, yeah, so I think it was basically he dies, he comes back as the second Lazarus. You can't die again on that floor or else you're dead, obviously. But on if you reach the end of the floor as the second form of Lazarus, he turns back into the original Lazarus with less health maybe, but he also gains like loads of damage. So like every single time that he revives, he gains damage. So it's actually a good thing to kill yourself on every floor to get permanent damage upgrades. Like he's amazing now, honestly, because he's so I don't want to say like brain dead, but I don't really know what else to say. Very safe because he has like so many lives that you can use. Um, so maybe I'll play him some more sometime. I just like whenever I do play, I just don't really feel like playing Lazarus. I don't know. Where do we put him though? Because I haven't really played him all that much. I mean, he's probably good times, right? But I put him at the very bottom of good times. So he's probably the most, well, I won't say the most because maybe some of the tainted characters are kind of iffy. I'm kind of iffy on as well, but I will put him here, but he's quite an iffy sort of character, you know, because I haven't played him all that much since his rework. Um, Lilith is next. A character which a lot of people hate. Um, I think Lilith can be quite cool. I think she's a bit of a pain in the ass because aiming with her, basically she can't shoot, but she has a little buddy that follows her called the Incubus. Incubus is like amazing, by the way. But basically it means that it follows behind you and that's what's shooting, so it's really hard to aim with her sometimes. It's kind of awkward when you're used to all the other characters. So I can see why a lot of people don't like her. She also starts off with the box of friends though, which can double all your familiars, which is what Incubus is. You know, all the follower things are all called familiars. Um, it doubles your familiars for the room, and it's got a short charge on it. I believe it's only like 2 or 3 rooms, so it's not too bad. Um, so I would say that Lilith, I mean, she's really good for boss rush because I just got a message message from Harry. Hello, Harry. I'm not going to look at it right now, but so for boss rush, the box will keep recharging after every wave, so um, you can get like a shit ton of Incubus and like whatever other familiars you have at the time will also double. So for boss rush, she's amazing, but like generally, unless you get like some crazy synergy, we're getting a lot of charges. She's gonna be kind of average, you know. I mean, she might be all right here, I think. A lot of people would put her like near the bottom because I know a lot of people really don't like her. She's either meh or all right for me. She's definitely not up here or down here. Um, I would say all right. I think she might be below Eve though. Because at least Eve has that like damage at the beginning, even though I kind of shit talked to her a lot. But yeah, I would say that that's probably fair. Um, Next up we got the Lost. So I don't really play the Lost a whole lot anymore. I only really played him for the um like when I was getting the completion marks and all the unlocks and things. Um, he was a lot better before Repentance. Actually, no, because he gets that new starting item now. I even forgotten. Um, in before Repentance, he had the D4 as his starting item, which was completely useless because it just re-rolls your entire kit, and I hate items like that. Um, so I would accidentally use that, and I would hate it. So I would get rid of it as soon as possible. Um, it's basically like nothing. But he also has flight. He's the balanced character I was talking about with Azazel. Like this character is actually balanced having flight because he has 0 health at all times. Um, so before you unlock his other starting item, which I'll get to, he will just die if he gets hit, which is horrible. And if he was like that, then he would be down here. If you couldn't change that, he would definitely be down here. But basically you can unlock the Holy Mantle for him to start with, which will give him 1 hit per room. So that's quite nice. He's better than the original Keeper by a mile. He gets flight, he gets spectral tears, so he can hide over rocks. He's like quite a sneaky little boy. You can work around the environment a bit to make sure that you don't get hit, rather than the original Keeper, which was just shit and really slow as well. I didn't even talk about his damn movement speed. He starts off with like negative a billion movement speed for some reason. I don't know if they buffed that in the new one. They might have done. But like, the original Keeper was just horrendous. Um, he was like on purpose bad, like to the point where like why even bother making him if he's not going to be fun? But yeah, he's definitely better now. That's why he's in good times. Um, the Lost though, he can take Deal with the Devils for free. That's the coolest thing about him. On top of those other things, but that's very cool. They did nerf that a bit in Repentance. Like before, you could just take all the damn Deal with the Devils you wanted, like all of the ones in that room. If there were multiple, you get all of them for free. But now you only get to pick and choose one out of like however many are in there. So that's a bit of a shame. But he does the buff that he did get now is he has a worse version of Isaac's D6 to start with. He has the Eternal D6, which works the exact same. You reroll items, but every time you do, there's a chance that the item will just disappear instead of turning into something else. So If it's a bad item though, so you are probably going to uh, not want it anyway. So, like the thing with Isaac is, if you see like a pretty good item, you could re-roll it and have a chance. But with the Lost, you probably only want to re-roll the really shit stuff that you never wanted anyway. If there's something like average there, you will probably just take it, unless you're feeling a bit risky. Um, so the Lost, I don't really know where to put him. I think he's all right. I think he's in between Eve and Lilith. He's not quite in meh tier. I know people probably have like quite a love-hate relationship with the Lost as well. He's another one of those. I would just put him smack in the middle because I don't really know how to feel. I don't really play him a lot, but I did have some good times with him. He's quite fun getting free deal with the devils, so yeah, I would say he's all right, and the free flight and spectral tears are good as well. Um, he's just a massive pain in the ass for bloody delirium and stuff because you already have holy mantle, you can't really add on to it. Um, and that just means you only have like one hit pretty much before you take the second hit, and then you get fucked. So there's there are obviously some items which can help you out, but yeah, like for I did get all the completion marks with him, and like some of the modes, like greedier mode especially, is just goddamn nightmare with the Lost. I think that was actually the last thing that. Oh no, maybe Keeper. Like both Lost and Keeper in the original. Even now, like in greedier mode, it's just my god. Um, well, if you don't know what greedier mode is, I'm not really gonna go into it here. So, um, do some research. God damn it, you don't need me to tell you. I'm joking, but yeah. Next up, we got Magdalene over here. Good old Maggie, a very classic character who's somehow come up all the way back here. Um, after all of these other guys. Maggie. Let's have a think about this. So Maggie's quite simple. She just gets like an extra health container and a speed downgrade, which a lot of people don't like, but she also gets the Yum Heart active item, which will let her heal some health every so often, which is always nice. I don't really usually play off of red hearts though, and I feel like most people don't either. They mostly go off of soul hearts so they can get their deal with the devils and angels. Um, so Maggie's like whole thing with like she's kind of like a noob character, you know. She's better for the people who are new to the game. Um, but she does have one thing that she's very good for in Repentance, which is playing the sacrifice rooms, which is a room that has spikes in the middle and like you can walk into it and get some nice stuff depending on like how many times you use it. You can get free angel room items and stuff like that. Um, and she's very good for doing that on the first floor and just getting pretty strong. Um, if you get one, because obviously they're not guaranteed to get, but um, yeah, that alone makes her like pretty decent. I mean, she was always going to be an all right anyway, probably. I mean, she could be good times, but I don't think she quite makes it to that level. She's probably just at the very top of all right tier. She's fine. I'd play as Maggie over any of these, but I probably wouldn't put her in good times because she's not quite on that level, I would say. Um, next up, I'm gonna probably catch some flack for this, but I don't like Samson. Um, he starts off with like a really annoying shot speed, which just makes him, I don't know, he's just annoying to play as. And his like whole gimmick is he gains damage for the floor when he gets hit, but my playstyle, I'm not going to be sticking with Red Heart, so I don't want to be taking damage. Like he's he's another one where like if you're bad at the game, you're taking a lot of damage, then maybe he's good, you know. But once you get a bit better, you kind of want to save all your soul hearts. You don't really want to be taking damage. So then he's basically just nothing. he's just literally nothing. With a shot speed that's really annoying to aim when you're used to every other character that has like the same for most of them. So yeah, Samson, you could just fuck off, honestly. Um, I'd probably put him in kind of bad, honestly. I'd probably rather play as Jacob and Esau than Samson, but Eden and Samson, they're kind of like vibing together, kind of having a good time. So I don't know which one I would put above the other there. Maybe I'd still put Samson above Eden just because I don't love the whole randomness thing. Um, but yeah, Jacob and Esau can get another win in the books because they've actually made it above two characters so far, even though for anyone else they'd probably be in the I will become back my money tier. Um, okay, so we're finally moving on to the tainted characters, which are the best part of Repentance. Let's all be honest. The tainted characters made Repentance, and they made it my favorite game of all time. Like before Repentance, I still loved Isaac Afterbirth Plus. I would have put it in probably in my like top 10 games. But Repentance with the tainted characters and everything, they're just so unique and so fun, and they have one for every single character, including the two new ones from Repentance. Um, so there's just so much new content once you unlock these guys. And they're all so much more unique than the originals. Um, Starting off with a pretty shit one, which you might be surprised with how much I love regular Apollyon. I wouldn't say shit to be fair, but shit in terms of not being all that interesting. We got Tainted Apollyon. So he starts off with a god awful fire rate, which is ugh, Jesus Christ. But he also gets a little red locust. So his whole gimmick is he gets these little red locusts, which will fly with his tears, and they kind of work as like extra damage. They're not really all that interesting, and they're kind of annoying to aim, kind of like how Lilith is. But I would say they're even more annoying to aim because they just go in a completely straight line. They don't even like arc with your movement like your tears do. So, oh, maybe they. No, I don't think they do, right? But basically, the way that he gets those, he has a similar thing to the Napoleon's Void. He has, I don't even know what it's called to be honest, but it's like a red version of Void. Um, Little portal boy. He looks cool, by the way. Didn't even mention that, but he looks bloody sick. So I wish he was a bit um more interesting to me in terms of actual mechanics, because I would definitely play as him a lot. But basically, his version of Void, it doesn't give you any stats or anything when you suck stuff up. It just makes it so you gain a red fly, and that's what you gain for any item that you suck up with it. So, I mean, you can't really say that that's a bad thing because, I mean, getting a guaranteed source of damage, I guess, from items, but it is kind of alright compared to Apollyon. I can see why some people like him more, but I just think he's kind of boring. I don't know. It's just and like the flies are annoying to aim and like it's like diminishing returns where like after you've got like four of them, you really just don't need like 20 because they take so long to shoot out individually that you're just gonna be not using all of them. If they all shot at once, then yeah, he'd be way better. They'd just immediately be way better. But with the like staggered flies going out, well, I think they're locusts technically, but yeah, same shit. Um, uh, he's good times tier, I think. I don't think he's quite very fun because I wouldn't say so. Um, where in good times? I mean, he is still a Napoleon. He still has a void. Technically, so I would say he's probably up here at the top of good times, but he definitely doesn't go up to very fun tier. Um, oh, one of my other boys has arrived, Tainted Azazel. You may be thinking that I don't like Tainted Azazel because I don't like regular Azazel that much. Well, he's not bad, but he's meh. Um, Tainted Azazel is my boy. I love Tainted Azazel. He has a regular length brimstone laser, but it doesn't feel overpowered because it's way thinner, so it's harder to hit stuff, and it does a lot less damage than brimstone. It's like whenever you're craving just like a fun little like balanced version of brimstone, he's just a fun time, you know? Um, and before he does his brimstone laser, he does a little sneeze in front of him. And if you sneeze on the enemy with that, and then shoot them with the brimstone afterwards, like there'll be a little mark over them when they get sneezed on. So your brimstone will do a lot more damage. So he's kind of like a cool little like combo character. Um, he also doesn't get flight like regular Azazel, which makes him way less overpowered. Um, I just think Tainted Azazel is just really fun to play. I don't know. Um, and because he has a regular length brimstone, it can synergize with a lot of stuff like homing and everything when regular Azazel couldn't. So he is in the tippy top tier, my friends, but he's not quite Apollyon. Um, yeah, I would say that he's right there. Um, Tainted Bethany is up next. Tainted Bethany. Can't. I mean, I've done all the completion marks as them, and then yet still I kind of feel like I don't play them all that much. I only really played them for that, but while I did, they are a good character. They're definitely very good. It's a character like Blue Baby, which only has soul hearts. But your red hearts go into charging your little active item, which is not similar to regular Bethany's at all, really. Actually, it does still give you wisps, technically, so I guess, yeah, sure. But these wisps aren't for damaging stuff. Um, Basically, her little book that she gets, the wisps are items. So they're like temporary items, so then when the wisps are destroyed, the items go away. But you get those on top of your regular items in the run. So if you get a shit ton of those, then yeah, and it has like a regular charging thing, so it's just a few rooms charge, and it you can charge it on red hearts as well. Like because Bethany can't have, well, Tainted Bethany, sorry, can't have red hearts. She can only have soul hearts. The red hearts actually go into charging her active item. Regular Bethany, the reason why she couldn't get soul hearts is because they went into charging hers. But using soul hearts to charge your active item is just like, I mean, it's technically not a waste anymore because she can't have them anyway. But yeah, it feels like a total waste, and it's only like 1 bar per soul heart, so it's kind of shit. But yeah, we're taking Bethany using red hearts for that. That's a lot better, a lot more. Uh, it doesn't feel fucking awful whenever you're picking them up. And they're like being wasted. Um, so yeah, Tainted Bethany is really strong. I think she just automatically goes into the very fun tier because she can't go any lower than that, I don't think. But she's below Judas for me because she is quite overpowered. Um, as you know, I'm not really. I like the kind of like medium sort of characters. Saying that, but there is one that I think is very strong that I absolutely love. We'll get to him later, but yeah, I think the next character we've got here is Tainted Blue Baby, and he's a very unique one. Basically, he gets, instead of bombs, he has like loads of different types of poop that he can like throw out and they can like combo together and shit. Like, and shit. Yeah, pun unintended, but uh he's just kind of, I just don't really like him because he feels too much of a gimmick. It's like you just like his shooting is bloody awful to start with, so you're pretty much just using these poops to do stuff a lot of the time. And like he can be very strong, but he can also just be incredibly annoying. And again, he's a blue baby, so he only gets soul hearts. Um, he's he's at the bottom of kind of bad tier for me. I would rather play Eden or Samson than Tainted Blue Baby, but I wouldn't say he's become back my money because he's at least better than that, you know? Um, but I don't really enjoy playing him, I would say. Oh my god. Probably the most controversial character in the entire game, I would say, is fucking Tainted Cain. Um, I mean, there are like quite a few which are controversial like that. That people are a bit iffy on, but Tainted Cain is like the one that I hear the most of people saying it's their least favorite in the entire game. Um, but like I will say, like when I first started playing Repentance, I mean he's really cool. He's like one of probably the coolest out of the new characters, just the way that he works. He's kind of like a Minecraft character. You can like he can't pick up regular items, um, they're all still there, which is kind of funny because if you find a really great item, you can't take it. If you walk into it, it will turn into a bunch of consumables, which just land on the floor. So he's a piece of shit, for that reason. Like a lot of people get upset because they see like Sacred Heart or Brimstone and then they just can't even take it. Um, but basically how he works is you have like a bag and you put the consumables into the bag and you can turn them into items. And that's how he gets his items. So he's kind of like crafting, and like the different consumables have like rarities attached to them. So it's supposed to give you better chance of having better items or influence the item pool based on like what's going into the bag. The thing with Tainted Cain though is he's incredibly tedious. The runs go on for like forever. Um, he's quite, like whenever I'm craving him though, like he's quite fun, but he's also like I just get the worst luck with him ever. Like I always get terrible items with him, no matter what I put in that damn bag, even if it's like fucking 12 soul hearts in there, he's still gonna give me like I don't even know, like fucking book of fucking anarchist cookbook or some shit. Um, like that's just what he does. Like even if you put the best shit in that bag, you're just gonna be like holding on to it forever because you don't want to waste it. But you're just gonna be keep getting like trash items in there. Um, Tainted Cain though, he probably doesn't go up to good times tier for me. Um, because of he's really hard to rank because he's like so unique. But he's also like whenever I play as him, I'm just like, God damn it! Like I just get like the worst items ever. He's just like a pain to play, but he's also like so cool, and he's probably the hardest one here to rank, honestly. Um, like, do I just put him in Met here with Azazel? I kind of want to put him in alright, but I also kind of want to put him in Meh, so yeah, I think that's where he belongs, and maybe even Azazel goes above him just because, I don't know. He could definitely be fun sometimes. Um, but and like I do crave playing as him sometimes just because of how unique he is, but yeah, I think that's probably where he belongs in all honesty. I don't think he quite stands up to the tiers, like even like the characters in All Right, you know, um, let alone the stuff above that. Most people who do know Isaac that might watch this, if there's any of you, um, you're probably not unhappy because you probably would have put him down here anyway, so it's not like you were going to put him any higher. Um, Tainted Eden's next. Fucking get out of here, you piece of shit. It's Eden again, but this time, whenever you get hit, your entire items re-roll every single time. Worst character in the entire game. I hate him. Um, and I feel like that's pretty universal. Like everyone kind of hates Tainted Eden, even the Eden lovers. They still hate Tainted Eden because he's just so bloody annoying and just ugh. Who would ever want to play as this? I don't even know. Like, there's got to be some people, but he's just ugh. Get out of my game, you tainted son of a bitch. Um, Tainted Eve though, way better than regular Eve. Tainted Eve is so much fun. Um, First time I played her, I was like, this sucks. Like, what the hell? I have to use my health to like create these little baby things, and then they shoot, and then they go away after a while, so you have to keep like sucking them up back into health and then putting your health back out. It's like, what the hell is this character? Why is it so weird? Um, why would I want to be on like no health all the time? Then you get used to Tainted Eve, and she can be so damn strong, but she's balanced because she's also really easy to kill, and like, yeah, she's also like quite hard to play, but she's so much fun. She could be like so overpowered, like one of the most overpowered characters in the game while simultaneously being shit. It's like, what do they even do? How do they make like such a cool character, you know? Um, so yeah, she's in very fun tier. She's not quite tippy top. Um, where in very fun, that's quite difficult. I would, I don't really think I can put her above Tainted Bethany, to be honest, because Tainted Bethany, you just get so many items, you can get like so many cool synergies. Um, but yeah, she's definitely in very fun. She's amazing. Um, Tainted Forgotten, which is like quite a difference from what I said. My review of the regular Eve, I was like, oh, this is shit. But you know, yeah, like Tainted Eve, pretty fun. Um, Tainted Forgotten, he is a riot to play as, you know. um, Not my mic a little bit there, so sorry about that. Probably cut it out anyway. But Tainted Forgotten, great time. Um, he's like so weird. Like the skeleton is always just like sitting there. It can't move anymore. You are playing as the blue ghost all the time, and you don't get tears anymore. The only way you quote unquote like shoot or attack is you pick up the bones and you lob them at shit. And then you have to like, after you've thrown it at something, it will do a shit ton of damage. But then you're gonna have to go over to the other side of the room and just be like, oh, excuse me, enemies, I'm just gonna come over here and pick up my body again to throw at you again. He's just such a unique and like silly character and like so satisfying at the same time, even though he's kind of goofy and can be a pain in the ass sometimes to like retrieve your body when like all the enemies are like zoning in on you. Um, but he's just so much fun, you know? Um, like he's got to go in very fun tier. Um, and he's probably above uh Tainted Eve. I don't know about Tainted Bethany though. Um, Yeah, I'd probably let him sit right there for me. It's kind of difficult. Like he could really go anywhere in this entire thing apart from above Isaac. I think at most he would go right here. Um, Maybe I want to put him there, but I don't know. Like I'm not always feeling playing as him, which I guess is the same for regular Forgotten, but I think at least that's like pretty traditional. Like this guy's very, very himself, you know, he's unlike anything else. Um, So I think that's probably the most fair placement for him, I think. Um, all right, so we're finally at Tainted Isaac. I find it funny that again that these are in like such a weird order just because they're alphabetical, you know. We got Isaac now. So Tainted Isaac, he's quite a cool character, but basically he has a limited amount of item slots, which is a big pain. Like, only being able to have like 8 items or whatever it is at one time means that you're very limited on what you can and can't take. Um, And you're always going to end up leaving stuff behind that you wanted to keep, you know? Um, Basically, the way that he works on top of that is every item, instead of being able to reroll with an active item, he just has the passive ability that every item swaps between two items, like slowly. So you can like pick by walking into it and hopefully don't fuck it up. But I mean, it's quite slow, so unless you just like forget, which I often do, and just like run into the item room and immediately run into the item and then have it like swap right before you pick it up, and then it's like fucking Curse of the Tower or Cursed Eye, and then you want to cry. Um, because you just get like excited when you see like Tech X in there and you just want to run into it, you know, and then you just get screwed over because you forgot. Um, but yeah, it means that every item you're gonna have that choice. You don't even have to charge up the D6, but you can't re-roll it any more past the one. It's one of those two items that you're getting. Unless you have the D6 on top of this, in which case that's amazing. You can do another reroll and have another two options to pick from. But yeah, Tainted Isaac, he's fun. I wouldn't say he's very fun. I would say he is good times tier. Probably at the top of good times tier though, past Tainted Apollyon. Um, yeah, I think that's where he sits. He's not in the very fun tier just because of that item limit. It definitely limits you quite a lot, but he is still a good time, and he's quite a fun little character to play as. Again, as I said with Isaac, I do quite like the um, less overpowered, like not like quite like shit characters, but like kind of like like average or like a bit above average. Um, Not completely brain dead, and yeah, he is he's obviously worse than Isaac, but like I would still say that he is less in terms of fun as well, just because of that item limit. If he didn't have that, then maybe I would change my mind, but I don't know. Even then, I might still like regular Isaac more. I don't know. He's quite similar. Tainted Jacob. Um, People hate this guy, I think. And I do too, but I also love him at the same time as hating him. Um, so basically, like how Tainted Jacob works is you start off and you're like, oh, where's Esau gone? I'm just Jacob, you know. Um, and you can see here he's just called Jacob, you know. He's not called Tainted Jacob and Esau. Um, so then you're like walking around, you're like, oh, well, this seems pretty normal, you know. And then suddenly tainted Esau over here. He raises from the fucking fiery depths of hell, and he is an enemy that's going to stick with you the entire floor. And if he touches you, you're going to turn into the Lost for the rest of the floor. Only without Holy Mantle, so you're just immediately going to die. And if you reach the next floor, you'll turn back into Jacob again. So you can use the Tainted Esau, though. You've got like a little chain item which will lock him in place, and then you can press it again to make Tainted Esau, sorry, charge at you, and he will do big damage to enemies and bosses, and he sets them on fire as well. So he is really fun to just like send your little minion at stuff. But obviously, Tainted Esau is also your enemy as well, so he will fuck you over. And if you get a narrow room, you're just totally fucked. Because Edmund Macmillan hates you. Um, and he wants you to suffer. Like no matter what, that is the main goal of this game is to make you cry. Um, but yeah, I mean, despite that, he's quite a fun little guy, you know. He can be quite unique. Where the hell do I put him? I don't know. I might even put him in all right tier. He's not definitely not going in good times. I'll tell you that because he will make you cry. But uh, all right tier seems all right. uh, he's definitely above Lilith, I would say. Do I put him above Lost? I mean, in terms of how much fun I have with him, probably. Um, Putting him above Eve might be pushing it though. Um, Tainted Judas. My boy has finally arrived. I love Tainted Judas. Um, you have an item which makes you go ka-chow for all the enemies. You go bam 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 bam. I'm gonna mix this in with some clips like pew, go for all the enemies. Yeah, and that's why I love him. He's so much damn fun to play as. Um, like you use your item and it makes you invincible, and you run through the enemies. You start like slashing through all of them, all in a chain. And for every enemy that you go through, you also gain damage temporarily. So he's just so good, but he's also not overpowered because he only has like 2 black hearts to start with, and he can only have soul hearts. And any character which can only have soul hearts is inherently not as broken as they would be otherwise. Because soul hearts are rare. Um, the other thing with Tainted Judas, you can get curse rooms for free, which are they are spiked doorways, so usually you can't exactly get into them a lot of the time without, well, yeah, it takes damage to go in. But Tainted Judas can dash through. He can also dash into those spiked chests to open them. I actually didn't know that he could do that until the other day. I tested it when I was playing with Harry, but yeah, he's just so good. I love him. He might even be number one. I don't know. Like if it, I feel like I kind of don't want to dethrone Apollyon though. I think Apollyon is my favorite. He's just, a very traditional character. You don't have to worry about the whole Soul Heart thing. So, but Tainted Judas is very close. He's right there. And at the start of this video, I did say that 3 characters would be in tippy top tier, and I think that's the 3. No spoilers for the rest of them, although I did just spoil it. But yeah. Next one though, he definitely has an argument for going in tippy top tier because he's so much fun. Like I would put him at the very top of very fun, but I don't think I can quite put Tainted Keeper into tippy top just because inherently he is like the original Keeper where he only has 2 coin hearts, and that is not good. It's definitely not very good, but he's so much fun though. Every enemy you kill, it drops a coin on the floor so you can refill your health. Um, and it means you're gonna get like so much damn money. You're always gonna be at like max money with this character. Um, and what are you gonna do with all that money, you might be asking? Well, the shops with Tainted Keeper, they have regular items in them from the item room, and so many of them. You get so many options, and they all cost money, so you just buy all of them. You get like most insane builds. He's just so much fun to play, honestly. Um, like he's so close to going to tippy top, but just that damn health situation, you have to not put him up there. Um, but yeah, he is close. Really fun character, honestly. Like when I first played him, I actually didn't like him just because the whole keeper thing. It's very annoying to play as sometimes, but once I got used to him, he's just so much fun. So much fun. Um, oh God, why is there still another difficult one to rank here? Tainted Lazarus. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Um, he used to be the worst character in the entire game, but I didn't play him back then because I when I got Repentance, it was the Switch version. He still hadn't been updated yet, to be fair. But I purposefully avoided playing him until he was updated because I knew he would get buffed. Like Edmund kept saying, like, "Yes, I will buff Tainted Lazarus. I don't want to be a complete asshole for once. For once." Um, um, but yeah, like now he is pretty interesting. He can be just, I mean, he can be just a better Jacob and Esau if you get the birthright. which is every character has. There's an item called the Birthright, and it's unique for every single character. And um, I might have to go into like what Tainted Lazarus does first before I talk about that. But basically, Tainted Lazarus is two characters in once, but they're in one, but they're not both out at the same time, like Jacob and Esau. They swap at the end of every room, but they have separate items. And you have a active item with a charge bar on it, which will let you manually swap between them if you need to. Um, basically, the way the birthright works, though, is if you get that, then they're always out, but only one of them can even take damage. So that makes them just way better version of Jacob and Esau because it doesn't matter. There's not like a bigger hitbox or whatever. You only get the upsides. So then Tainted Lazarus is amazing. But if you don't have the birthright, he's quite hard to talk about. Like he's kind of bad, but he's also kind of cool, and I don't know. You still get a good amount of items because what the like flip active item can do with the buff is when you go into an item room, there'll actually be a second item behind the first one. So you pick up the first one with the first Lazarus, and then you flip. It'll flip you over to your other Lazarus form, and it'll flip the item to the other one, so you can pick up the other one as well. Um, Now, sadly, it doesn't do this for every item pedestal. I don't think it does it for boss items, if I remember correctly. But it does do it for deal with the devils and angels, I believe, and it does it for shop and item rooms. I don't know why they didn't do it for boss items, because I don't really like how it's not completely consistent with everything. And I don't think it does it for items you get out of a chest and stuff as well. I don't think those have a flip variant. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's pretty good. He's kind of bad at the same time. I don't really know what to do with him. Um, I would say he's above meh tier. He's probably an alright tier. I don't think he's quite good times. Um, I might put him like right here below Lost, but above not Tainted, sorry, above regular Lilith. Talking about Lilith, by the way, we've got Tainted Lilith next. Um, this is yet another one where it's a love-hate relationship for most people. Um, they're quite boring for me. They're really strong and they're very satisfying, but they are like a one-trick pony. They just have like this fetus thing that launches out as a whip, which is pretty brutal, right? It's probably the most brutal looking character out of any of them. But it's also incredibly strong. This whip shit can just carry you through the whole game. You don't even need anything else. But and it's very satisfying to use, which means it's quite fun. But at the same time, like it doesn't really synergize with anything, and I don't know, it's just I like Isaac for all the item variety and the synergies and things. So Tainted Lilith, it's just it. I mean, if you're craving playing as it, it could be kind of fun. I'd put it in good times, I think, but there's no way it's going above that for me. Um, whereabouts in good times am I thinking? Probably above Kane, maybe below Bethany. Yeah, I would say that's maybe fair for me. I know a lot of people would put her like very high up because she is very strong. And if this was a strength tier list, she would definitely be up there. But this is my opinion. This is about my thoughts on the characters, how much I like playing as them. So yeah, I would say that's a fair placement for Lilith, Tainted Lilith. Even though I don't really play as her, I'd probably play as Kane more often than Tainted Lilith. But yeah, maybe I do move her down by one. But yeah, I would say that she probably goes there. Um, Tainted Lost. What a horrible character. Just horrible. He is the Lost, but he doesn't have Holy Mantle, so he dies in one hit. But he starts with a Holy card, which is a one-time use Holy Mantle, and every future card has a 10% chance to become a Holy card. With my luck, though, it feels like a 0.0001% chance. I think all they would have to do to fix this character for me is up the holy card rate from 10% up to 20%. Doesn't even have to be like crazy or anything. They could put it even higher than that, but I think 20% means that they would at least come up during a run, because I get super unlucky. I go an entire run without seeing a single holy card, and that's when I'm purposefully picking up like booster pack, which drops 8 cards on the floor or whatever, and going to like every shop for cards, and I still go an entire run without getting any of them. So I think upping it to like 20, 25, 30, maybe 30's pushing it, but 20 or 25% would just make this character a lot more bearable to play. Um, Saying that, I've still got most of the completion marks with him. He's like one of the. I did complete all of the basic characters, but the Tainteds, I've done most of them, but there are a few where I couldn't really be bothered. Like Tainted Lost, I'm only missing a couple, but there's no way I'm ever gonna be bothered to do greedier mode with Tainted Lost. Like, if it's not fun, why would I bother doing that shit? Um, Like on PC, I used Achievement Manager to give me not Achievement Manager. I used what is it? I used a save file completed just so I could play modded with a completed save file. Um, like Switch is my main save, which is where I've almost completed everything. I think I'm like 20 something achievements off the max, but I don't really see myself being bothered to get the rest of them. Maybe one day, but Tainted Lost. Um, where are we putting him? I mean, he's definitely not all right. He's probably in kind of bad. But I might rather play him than these two. So maybe he goes there. I think he's probably below Samson because Samson, even though I don't enjoy him, he is kind of what's the word? Um, I don't even know. I'm not even going to pretend to think on the spot because I'm terrible at it. But he's inoffensive. Like he's offensive to me, but he's kind of inoffensive in general. He's kind of a normal sort of character. But Tainted Lost, yeah, he will make you sad, but he's not become back my money like Tainted Eden. So well done. Um, two more characters left, and then we're done. We got Tainted Maggie next. Um, both of these, Tainted Maggie and Tainted Samson, I don't really know how to feel about them, to be honest. Like, Tainted Maggie, I think, is very strong, but she's also. I don't really vibe with her playstyle. She's kind of like running into shit and taking damage is kind of like her thing. She's definitely a better version of Samson, in that regard. Um, I don't know. Her gimmick isn't really interesting enough for me to enjoy it. It's just kind of like running into shit. And then you get the health back a lot of the time. But she is very strong, and you know, I would say maybe she just goes above regular Maggie. I I I mean, she could be good times. I mean, she's not awful, but in that regard, I mean, Maggie would probably also go up there. I think they're quite similar in terms of how much I like them. So I would say Tate and Maggie's at the top of all right tier is where I put her. Tated Samson, I can't say that I have played a hell of a lot of him. Although I'm trying to think if I've completed him on completion marks. Surely not, right? Um, I have done most of them probably. I don't think I've done greedier mode with Tated Samson. Um, basically how he works is he has like as you're doing like damage to enemies, you get more and more red, and when he gets fully red, um, he gets like really aggressive. He turns really savage looking, and he gains like this melee weapon which does 1 billion damage, and he goes like ape shit. You like run through. It's like a limited time thing, but the more shit you kill during it, the longer it lasts. So you just run through rooms. You're taking out loads of them. It's quite satisfying. It's quite cool. Um, the problem is like when you're against like a boss, it's like kind of annoying that it keeps going off like later on in the run. And it forces you into melee range if you have like some OP shit. And you don't really want to be in melee range because you're not invincible during it or anything. Um, for stuff like Mega Satan, it's a massive pain, I would say. But yeah, he's either at the very bottom of good times or he's in alright tier. I would say he does make it up to good times, because he can be quite a fun character sometimes. But he's not going above Lazarus, and I could even move Lazarus up a bit. I mean, I did say like he is very good. I just haven't played him a whole lot. I don't know if I would put him above Keeper. I would probably put him one above Keeper, maybe. But I'll leave him there, I think. I don't want to get too crazy with it. I feel like this looks pretty accurate to me. So if you did enjoy the video, I hope you did. And whatever little edits and shit that I've put in, I don't really know. I might have put in some explosions and stuff just to make it silly. I mean that was the original idea, but maybe I will keep it very serious as my channel always is. Um, Next video, what am I gonna do? So the next animation, I have been working on it for a long time. Um, but the thing with me is I get very burnt out of artwork, and I'm also having to do some artwork as a job right now, some freelance stuff. So that's been kind of like I'm already burnt out of doing art anyway, so having to do that um, just burns me out even more. Um, So yeah, that was kind of what I was up to last year as well. I had like a 6 month placement with them. Like they've recently got in touch with me to do some freelance stuff. So for anyone who wanted a channel update, I'm chucking it on the end of this video. That's kind of like what's going on. But yeah, I can't really say when the next animation will be. I haven't really done all that much of it in all honesty. But it is a nuclear throne animation. I want to finish it. What I've done on it so far, I think is I really enjoy it. I think I did a good job on it. So I would like to finish it. Before that, I was originally going to do a Smash Brothers Club Penguin Sensei trailer. Um, Obviously, I was making a lot of Smash Brothers videos here, but I was mainly only into that because of the speculation. I've never really been a fan of fighting games, so I'm not actually a big fan of Smash Brothers. I mostly just love the speculation and everything around that, but I'm out of that scene now, so don't really expect any of that. But yeah, it's a shame because that was quite a cool one, but I just was sick of working on it, so I moved on to the Nuclear Throne one, and then stuff happened. So yeah, expect the Nuclear Throne animation maybe within like a year or two. I honestly, I'm not gonna give any sort of like dates or anything because it'll probably be a long time. I don't really know. But talking about Isaac, I am gonna be getting the. If you followed like the Four Souls Kickstarter, which is the Isaac card game, I will be getting that hopefully next month. It has been fucking 2 years since I backed that shit, but I'm very excited for it, of course, because Isaac is my favorite game and Four Souls is my favorite bloody card game. It's really fun. Obviously, I don't own it yet, but I've played it at a board game cafe with my friends. Um, Hello, Kai, if you're watching. And um, I've also played it on Tabletop Sim with the new expansion from this Kickstarter, so I have already like tested it out and everything. And I'm very excited. There's also like loads of other Isaac merch. So I might make sorry. Uh, there we go. Just had to take a drink there. But yeah, I might make a video, an unboxing video on that next month. Um, don't take my word for it because I might not feel like it, and I don't really know how I'm going to record it. But if I do, then expect that next month. But if it doesn't show up, then that'll be, it's not going to be coming. So don't be holding off on that. Um, but yeah, I'm not really. I've never really done an unboxing video before because I feel like they're a bit self-centered, But I think since as like a one-off thing because I'm like so excited for it, I thought I could make a video on that. So I mean, we'll see if I feel like it or not. But yeah, I think that'll probably be the end of this video. Expect a new video within the next 12 years maybe. I mean, it was fucking over 2 years since the last one, so you never know. You know, my upload schedule, that's how it is. But yeah, have a good day, everyone. And I will see you in the next video, whenever that might be. See ya.